So really double brokering is fairly simple. Basically what happens is when a customer, shipper, manufacturer, whatever, tenders a load to one brokerage company, and then they in turn give it to another company that is not the carrier that hauls it, whether they give it to a carrier, and then that carrier sends it on to an additional carrier. Sometimes that they give it to a broker, and that broker gives it to another broker, who then gives it to a carrier. But basically, it's more than one hand in the pot before it gets to the people actually picking up.
How much would you say yourself that you've been quote unquote scammed? Would you say?
Oh, it's at this point, it'd be hard to put a number to it. The number's in the thousands. I mean, and it's not just in lost revenue or having to pay out double. Sometimes that equates to a customer says, hey, the chain of custody on this load was broken. We're going to have to claim this load. So, the certain loads can be worth $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. Matter of fact, we've got one we're dealing with right now that slipped through the cracks months ago, and the value of that load is $350,000. So,
my gosh!
When I say I'm very passionate about this, that's an understatement. First things that we do is we'll go out, and we have a program that we've developed that will run this carrier's MC, pull up their address, and then look and say, okay, is there any other carriers that's at this address? And unfortunately, you'd be surprised how many times you'll have an address that has 20, 30, 40, 50. And to be honest, I've seen it as high as in the hundreds.
No way.
Yes. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Matter of fact, there's one address. I won't give out the address because we're still looking into everything, but there's as many as 3,000 companies related to one address.
So, we don't want to give up too much away.
Mm-hmm.
But can we say what state that's in?
I
want to guess.
It's in the state of Wyoming, believe it or not. It is not California. Everybody thinks
California.
California.
I was going to say California. Going to say California.
Hey, let me tell you something now. And remember, this website it's in its, very beginning stages.
Okay.
So it's very simple, but we wanted to go ahead and roll this out where people could start using it immediately, and every day we're fixing up more and more. So if you look at the top up there, it says load check. All you got to do is click on that load check.
All right.
And let's type in under where it says MC number lookup.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just use my asset side. So I'm going to type in 441786.
Mm-hmm.
So 441786.
Let's see. Warning, this entity is not authorized as a broker freight. Did I type that in right?
You did. So this is our asset side. This is our carrier side. We're not allowed to broker freight, and this tells people don't do business with ART Transport. These are my actual trucks and trailers. And so a lot of times, yeah.
Looks like you just got a fresh haircut.
Man, let me tell you, I told Maria, I was like, if I'm going on the show, I got to do a fresh shave and a fresh haircut. So
hey, I'll tell you what, if I couldn't grow hair, and this is me like growing a mustache for like 4 years right here. So
right.
I wish I had it, man.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. I cannot grow a beard or a mustache to save my life. I can do this like stubble stuff, but if it starts growing at all, it starts to look real skanky. I mean, I look like Joe Dirt. So
hey, I love it. I love it, man. We keep it down and dirty, and that's a good segue to today. We have a good friend, Jason Decker, on the show, Trucking 101. And, some people might remember us from our last few podcasts that we do. And pretty much what we're trying to do here is just trying to fight double brokering, because I'm telling you what, I get a message once a day about, that's probably another person calling right now about getting scammed. Seriously, and they don't know what to do. And so, you did a pro talk, but a lot of people didn't get an opportunity to be there. But there were some things and some really good strategies that you can use to kind of put pressure on these brokers to, get these people to pay you right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just because you took a double broker load doesn't mean it's all is lost.
And can you explain to people that don't understand or new to the game or haven't had it happen to them what double brokering is real quick?
Absolutely. So really double brokering is fairly simple. Basically what happens is when a customer, shipper, manufacturer, whatever, tenders a load to one brokerage company, and then they in turn give it to another company that is not the carrier that hauls it, whether they give it to a carrier, and then that carrier sends it on to an additional carrier. Sometimes they give it to a broker, and that broker gives it to another broker who then gives it to a carrier. But basically, it's more than one hand in the pot before it gets to the people actually picking up the load.
And with you having so much experience with this as well,
Mm-hmm.
you have a brokerage and an asset company.
Yes, sir.
And how much would you say yourself that you've been quote unquote scammed? Would you say?
Oh, it's at this point it'd be hard to put a number to it. The numbers in the thousands. I mean, and it's not just in lost revenue or having to pay out double. Sometimes that equates to a customer says, "Hey, the chain of custody on this load was broken. We're going to have to claim this load." So the certain loads can be worth 100, 200, $300,000. Matter of fact, we've got one we're dealing with right now that slipped through the cracks months ago, and the value of that load is $350,000. So,
Oh my gosh.
when I say I'm very passionate about this, that's an understatement. So basically, we want everyone to be as proactive as possible. That's always your first line of defense. But we can attest, whether we're talking about our asset side or our brokerage side, that sometimes things slip through the cracks. I mean, no matter how diligent you are about trying to weed out these individuals, sometimes it just happens. So you have to move into a more reactive state. So what my best suggestions on this is, and I'm going to go ahead and jump down one more page to page 7,
Sure.
is first reach out to the shipper and the receiver and ask them what company was this load originally tendered to. So, you can look at your bill of ladings, and a lot of times on the bill of ladings, it may have the original broker or carrier on it, but sometimes it doesn't. So if you're getting ghosted by the broker that you had the load tendered from, go ahead and reach out to both the shipper, the receiver, and say, "Hey, my name is John, and I picked up, on April 19th in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and delivered, April 21st in, let's say Richmond, Virginia, at this place and this place. Can you tell me who this load was originally tendered to?" And more often than not, the manufacturers, the shippers, the receivers, someone's going to be helpful, because this is not their first rodeo either. They understand that you're trying to get to the bottom of an issue. And to be honest, we've never had a shipper or receiver not help us. Sometimes you got to push a little bit. And when I say push, let's do this in a respectful manner. This isn't something that you go out and try to make a bunch of threats in the beginning, because at the end of the day, they don't know what's going on either. So they're going to try to help, but they're going to play it on the safe side. So understand that, they have a dog in this fight as well, and they're going to try to protect themselves, but they will get you that information. So let's say that information is John's Logistics, and that was who the load was originally tendered to. You're going to have to go out, and more often than not, they'll have a phone number or email for them. Go ahead and reach out to John's Logistics, because sometimes the original broker that it was tendered to, or the original carrier, may not know it's double brokered. That happens from time to time. No matter how much you try from a broker standpoint to really vet out your carriers, sometimes they just slip through the cracks on that. And so reach out to them and inform them. Tell them, say, "Hey, I've got this trucking company. I picked up this load that I found out was actually your load. It loaded here, delivered here. This is who I hauled it for, and they've now ghosted me." When I talked to both the shipper and receiver, they advised us that you were the company, or your company was the one it was originally tendered to. We need to set something up to make this right. Make sure that, I get paid on this. Now, a lot of times, by the time you find out, or the individual finds out that they are a victim of double brokering, the original person that was tendered to has already gotten paid. The scammer has gotten paid, because a lot of times they just don't know that they're paying a fraudulent carrier.
Right.
So, and this is where a lot of times, brokerages will go out and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. We paid them. You need to go after them." Well, in a sense, that's correct, but it's not 100% correct. We definitely want to go after those scammers, because they're the ones that's causing the problems. But by law, the carrier that hauled the load has to get paid. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so what you can do is, once again, when you're talking to the company that load was originally tendered to, the one that was supposed to get it, be respectful, be nice, but also tell them, say, "I need to get paid on this load. I hauled it. I should get paid on it. And I will send you the FMCSA code that basically mandates that the carrier who hauled it gets paid, and we'll get that posted up." But they are required to pay you. Now, that being said, a lot of times how double brokers get people to take loads, they post or offer outlandish rates. So let's say the load out of Fort Smith going to Richmond should have paid, we'll use $3,000 as that number, and they offered you $5,000. Now,
Right.
that original broker, they're not going to pay you the $5,000. If that's not fair market value, if that's unrealistic, they're going to say, "Hey, we wasn't paid this. We weren't paying the who we thought was the carrier this. Let's bring this down to a realistic number, that meets fair market value, and that way no one's taking any more of a hit on this than they have to." Because let me tell you something, that broker that's out there who's already paid the fraudulent carrier then has to turn around and pay the actual carrier, and so they're out there, they're going to be incurring that cost or that loss on this. And so it's a bad situation for the carrier. That's who it's worse for. But to be honest, it's really not good for the broker either, and it's not good for the customer. It's a negative situation all the way around. So that's going to be your absolute best course of action. And then if they say, "Hey, I'm not going to pay this, I don't care what that states," that's when it's time to get attorneys involved. And I don't like lawsuits. I never want to go out and try to sue someone. I always want to go, a different route if all possible. But at the end of the day, just like this carrier that you was talking about that has 6 trucks, that he's out a lot of money, he needs to try to get a hold of that original broker who had that load and have that conversation with them. And it's a tough conversation to have, because he's in a bad situation, they're in a bad situations. A lot of times emotions get high and stuff like this. Yeah. But we've got to let cooler heads prevail and really work to get this rectified for the carrier. That way he can get paid. He's not being too negatively affected. I mean, he's already negatively affected, but we got to minimize this as much as possible. So
yeah, no, I hear you on that. I remember at your Pro Talk, one thing you were saying is, the shippers themselves, they don't really like it that the broker that they're working with is just per se not really doing their research and just giving it to just any truck driver to haul their stuff.
Correct.
So I remember you saying that, you could kind of use that as leverage to pressure the brokerage a little bit to be like, "Hey,
100%.
I'll tell, go ahead. Yeah. Tell me about that a little bit."
Okay. Yes. So, a lot of times if you do get an attorney involved, that's the first route they'll go is going after the shipper and the receiver. Because like I said, legally, the carrier has to get paid. And so the attorney will go ahead and send a certified letter to whoever that product originally belonged to, whether that was the shipper or receiver, and say, "Hey, this carrier hauled the load. They did not get paid. Now we're filing a lawsuit against you, the customer." Well, the first thing the customer is going to do is they're going to pick up that phone and they're going to call that broker, and they're going to be like, "What the, you need to get this figured out." So usually it never goes to court. Actually, I don't know of any time that it's ever gone to court. As soon as that customer's on the phone with that broker saying you screwed up, you need to fix this, that broker is going to be calling you, because they have, at this point, they have two options. They can either pay you and get this resolved, or it can go to court. Their customer is going to wind up going to court and paying out lawyer fees, and still going to have to pay out, to the carrier. And so they're going to lose a customer over this. It is the best course of action. And I don't advise drivers to try to act like an attorney or try to push the customers to do that, because a lot of times that will go negative. If that's the route you have to go ahead and reach out to an attorney. There's a lot of them. I get drivers all the time say, well, I can't afford an attorney. Well, there is a lot of attorneys out there that says, hey, I will take this, for a certain fee, let's say 20% or 30%, whatever that might be. And that's something that you can try to get thrown in with the carrier pay. Say, hey, if this load should have paid $3,000, but I've got to pay $300 to this attorney, I need you to pay me $3,300 because I gave you an option in the beginning to do right by me. You didn't. So now I need my attorney fees covered as well. So that's very much an option.
No, that's good advice. One more thing that I wanted to bring up that I thought was really good during your pro talk at Matt's. Now, when you go get an MC number, right, and you become a carrier, if they have one or two or three, names that are different but under the same phone number and email, does that actually indicate that these are scammy carriers or brokerage or companies, or does that ever make sense for them to have that many, on the same email and phone number and address?
Let's say this. I'm not going to say it's 100%, but I would put it north of 99%.
Oh, wow.
It's unless they can say, okay, well, this company is a flatbed division, this is a reefer, this is a dry van. There needs to be some type of reasoning behind this, and not instead of just, oh, I run a couple different companies. More often than not, unless it's some type of extenuating circumstances, there's no real reason to have multiple asset companies under one email address at one address. Like I said, it would have to, maybe they're running some dump trucks and they want to keep that separate from their over the road or something along those lines. But, if they've got multiple onesies and twosie trucks, and they're running 3-4 MCs at one address, to me, that's a real big red flag, and that's a very large concern of ours. From a brokerage standpoint, I'll tell you, one of the first things that we do is we'll go out and we have a program that we've developed that will run this carrier's MC, pull up their address, and then look and say, okay, is there any other carriers that's at this address? And unfortunately, you'd be surprised how many times you'll have an address that has 20, 30, 40, 50. And to be honest, I've seen it as high as in the hundreds.
No way.
Yes. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Matter of fact, there's one address. I won't give out the address because we're still looking into everything, but there's as many as 3,000 companies related to one address.
So, we don't want to give up too much away. But can we say what state that's in? I want to guess.
It's in the state of Wyoming, believe it or not. It is not California. Everybody thinks California.
Oh, I was going to say California. Let
me tell you something. Now, far as the most fraudulent carriers, the number of fraudulent carriers we see, the very vast majority of them do come from the state of California. We are starting to see an uptick out of Illinois and even some over in New Jersey. But California is still very much on our radar as the biggest hotspot in the country.
This trucker, this trucking 101. I mean, is this how much does it cost for a driver to check a MC number before they start working with a new company?
Oh, let me kind of jump into that. Absolutely nothing. So what we're doing with Trucking 101 is for everyone. It's for your carriers, brokers, owner operators. And what we're trying to do is basically put out a program or both, website, Google Play, Apple Store, apps and stuff where people can go in, type in MC numbers, and when they type in the MC number with the company that they're booking a load with, it should bring up if that company is inactive, active. Do they have brokerage authority? Are they a known scamming company? We're putting this out there free for everyone. And somebody asked me the other day, they said, well, why are you making it free? When are you going to start charging? And I said, we're not going to start charging for this because the number of scammers out there is growing by the day. The worse the economy gets, the worse freight gets, more people decide, hey, I'm going to go out, I'm going to make money this other way. And it's very unfortunate. So, we're going with the adage, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And we want everyone to jump on board to understand that to weed out these double brokers, it's going to take the FMCSA to get involved. It's going to take carriers to become more diligent with who they're booking with. It's going to take brokers becoming more diligent on their side as well. This is everyone. Double brokering is a cancer, and the only cure for it is to everyone get involved and do their part.
No, I appreciate that. Now, is there a way for me? I'm not here trying to plug your company or anything like that, but is there a way for me, if we jumped on right now to your Trucking 101 website, can we put in like your MC number to your asset company? Will it pop up everything? Would we be able to see that right away?
Yeah, you can go to trucking101.net where people could start using it immediately. And every day we're fixing up more and more. So if you look at the top up there, it says load check. All you got to do is click on that load check.
All right.
And let's type in under where it says MC number lookup. Let's just use my asset side. So I'm going to type in 441786. So 441786.
Let's see. Warning, this entity is not authorized as a broker freight. Did I type that in right?
You did. So this is our asset side. This is our carrier side. We're not allowed to broker freight. And this tells people don't do business with ART Transport. These are my actual trucks and trailers. And so a lot of times, a lot of times they'll claim that they're a broker and they'll give you their MC number because it looks like it's active. Well, we've gone out and said, okay, yeah, they're active, but they're legally, they can't broker freight. Now let's do this. Let's type in a different MC number. Let's go with 225918.
225918?
Yep. So that's
this general is the physical address.
Yep. So that's our brokerage authority. And so it's active. You're able to book with them. Nothing popped up saying that you couldn't book with them. And then on that phone number down there at the bottom, especially if you're using the apps, you can go on there on your app, click on that phone number and call the company. And so this takes you not to who you booked the load with, but this takes you to their corporate office. You can, at that point, click on, when you're on the phone with them, you can go to their carrier sales or their customer service and say, hey, I just booked a load with John Smith. Y'all's load number is 112112. Let's say that. It picks up in Fort Smith and goes to Richmond, Virginia. Is that a good load? And they can look it up and they can say, yes, that John Smith is one of our agents, one of our brokers. That's a good load. Or they might say, hey, I don't know anything about this load. That's not a good load number. And we don't know who John Smith is. And
Gotcha. No, this is big stuff. This is really good stuff here. So, all you mother truckers out there, before you book a load, if it's someone you're booking a load new with and you just need some more tools in your toolbox, we will say this much. If you go on this trucking101.net, you type in the MC number, it at least is going to give you some tools that you could use right away, that you could call on these companies. And definitely, if it comes up a red flag, that should start getting your spine tickling a little bit and wondering what's going on.
Okay, so a couple things you can do from a proactive standpoint. And this one right here, I've had some pushback on it from people saying, well, there's no science behind it. Well, no, there's not. But at the end of the day, everyone gets a gut feeling. It's just, so do the gut, what I call the gut check. Does the load make sense? Does the rate make sense? Does everything add up? When you call on a load, or more importantly, when a broker calls you because your truck is posted or for whatever reason, think about it. Is this load too good to be true? If I'm looking around on a load board and every load I see out of Dallas going over to El Paso is paying $900 or $1,000, and this guy calls me and he's got a load going over there and it's paying $2,500 or $3,000, I'm excited about it. But hey, wait a second. Why are you paying 2-3 times what the market is going for? Because if everyone else is paying $900 to $1,000, he could post this thing up all day long at probably $1,400-$1,500 and move that. So the gut check is really important to me, and we discuss this with our fleet managers, as well, because on our asset side, we on a weekly basis get companies trying to broker fraudulent loads or double broker to us. And so this isn't just on our brokerage side that we see this. Our asset side gets hit almost as much, or they try to hit our asset side almost as much as they do as our brokerage. The second thing you need to do is do your due diligence. If the broker calls you because the truck is posted, make sure when they send you the setup pack that you double check that they are who they claim they are. And this is where that trucking101.net comes in. As soon as they send you that setup pack, somewhere usually between page 1 and 3 should be their MC number. Check their MC number. And if it comes up that they don't have active brokerage authority, that's what, don't haul it. But the next thing is if they do have active brokerage authority, call the number that's listed, because the number that we have listed in there, that's not an agent's cell phone number. That's not some just number that we pull up. That's the one that is on file with the Department of Transportation. That's so right. Call that number, verify that load. That piece is absolutely huge. The next thing is, let's say everything checks out. You get to the shipper, you know, they're loading you. They hand you the bill of ladings. One of the first things you need to do is look at those bill of ladings. It doesn't always have the shippers or the carrier's name on the bill of ladings. They're supposed to, but I know just from some of our own customers, when we get their bill of ladings in, it will say our name on those bill of ladings. So let's say you picked up this load and John's Logistics brokered you this load, but it says another broker's name. That's a huge red flag. Why did you get it from John's Logistics, but it says Mutha Trucker on it? That tells me something is wrong. So one of the first things I want to do before I ever leave that shipper, I'm going to talk to that shipper. Hey, I got this from John's Logistics. This says Mutha Trucker. What's up? You know, so that's a big one. Next one, run a credit check on them or Google them. You would be shocked how many times you can Google a broker's name and it'll pop up. Hey, they double brokered, they scam me. You know, so just a simple Google search does wonders. It does absolute wonders. I put on there, run a credit check. A lot of people say, well, how do you do that? Nowadays, most people use factoring companies. If you have a concern, reach out to your factoring company, give them that information, tell them, hey, run a credit check on me, or run a credit check on them for me. Let's see if everything adds up. That's a biggie. And then the last piece is build relationships with, you know, customers and brokers that have done right by you. You know, I know as well as anybody right now, adding customers is not the easiest thing to do. We feel it on our asset side. We feel it on our brokerage side. So leverage the relationships you have, you know, and whether that's customers or brokers. A lot of times, even our asset side, we use a lot of brokers on a weekly basis. We build those relationships with them because it helps us to get from point A to point B. It doesn't always pay exactly what we would like, but at the end of the day, those relationships are huge. And if we haul for them week after week and they have been paying us regularly, it minimizes our exposure to, you know, these fraudulent brokers. So that is absolutely huge to do.
No, I appreciate you so much, brother. I mean, there's a lot of great information. And for the people, when I do post this video, say, why won't Jason give up the company in Wyoming with 3,000? It's because it's I think my man is investigating this and seeing where this goes before you start busting people out. Am I correct?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we're doing in the background here is we are compiling a list of all known double brokers or fraudulent individuals or companies that we can. And that being said, a lot of times by putting this stuff out there, it has a real negative impact back on us. These people are very comfortable with threatening individuals. They're comfortable with threatening companies. Matter of fact, there's a gentleman I follow on LinkedIn. He goes by an alias named Tim Bannon, and he posts stuff all the time where people are threatening these double brokers. These fake individuals are threatening people's lives. And so it's not a game. I mean, this stuff is serious. And so now we are putting together this list as much as possible. We're compiling as much information as quickly as possible. And guys, we're going to put it out there, and just because people need to know what's going on. And I expect there to be backlash towards myself and our company for that. But sometimes that's just what you got to deal with. It's a very unfortunate thing. We had one individual try to hold our Google reviews hostage by posting fraudulent information. If we didn't take his name off of one of the lists that we posted a while back, we said, you know what, go ahead, put it up there. You do what you need to do. We're going to do what we need to do. And he did. He posted some very fake things on our reviews, and we can't get those taken down. But I'm okay with that, because that means we were negatively affecting him and keeping him from scamming people.
And I think the best thing we do with this is, when you have everything put together, and I'm sure that list will keep on growing. Mm-hmm. It'll be one of those things where I can help you share it and let people know, go to trucking101.net. And then, hey, if you guys are part of the Trucking 101 family, we're the Mother Trucker family, we'll just email you that. Absolutely. And so it won't be, and then maybe before we email you, we got to make sure that you are a carrier yourself. You know what I mean?
And that's absolutely what we're trying to do. And I'll be honest, Alex, you were a lot of what inspired us to do this. And I'm not sitting here, trying to blow smoke at you, but in all honesty, when I met with you that first time over in Oklahoma, I thought to myself, this guy can't be real. He says he's looking out for the good of the trucking community, but I need to see this for myself. And after spending several days with you, I was very impressed. But then, what it did to me? It was like, what are you doing? What am I doing for the community? It basically put me in check, saying, hey, you have all these resources, you have this information that's out there. Why aren't you helping the community? So, we're putting this out there and trying to spread the word as much as possible. Trucking 101 is for the community of the transportation community. It is strictly a cost for us, but at the end of the day, this information needs to be out there. We're going to keep adding to this on a daily basis and really try to, build this community and bring, more knowledge to the individuals that it's most negatively affecting, basically.
No. And when do you think this will be available on the website for free?
Well, like I said, pieces of it already are. Matter of fact, we in just this week have went through 11 interviews with hiring individuals, bringing them on we're writing literally thousands of lines of code. I mean, we're really putting this together as fast as possible because it is needed. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's quite an undertaking. Plus, another thing that we're doing is we're trying to make sure what we put out there is 100% accurate. I would rather it be accurate than fast. And trust me, I know it's needed. I know it's needed as quickly as possible, and we do want to get it out there. But if this is truly going to benefit the industry, and serve the industry, it's got to be correct, and then we're putting all kinds of stuff on there. We're going to build out all kinds of things that's going to help the industry. We're going to do basically a buyer's beware things that we know that are fraudulent outside of just double brokers. We're going to put that on there. We're going to put in there valued partners, companies that we know and recommend them to look at. Once again, doesn't do anything for us, but it helps them, because at the end of the day, and you can find this on that website, the reason I'm so passionate about this is I'm second generation. You know, my father did this. Well, I say my father, my mother and my father did this, and they built this up from absolutely nothing. And they didn't have the tools, the resources, or anything else, and they had to learn a lot of things the hard way. And when I say the hard way, I don't know that I could have done it. And so what we're trying to do is we say pull back the curtain, show drivers, show owner operators, small carriers, where they can benefit from certain things, and really try to open things up where they can skip a lot of the negative things that we went through to get where we're at today. Because at the end of the day, between the scammers and some of these large carriers out there, it's tough. It's really tough. And so we need as many smaller and mid-sized people to be as successful as possible. So this is what it's all about, is trying to.
I love it, brother. I love it. You know, all you Mutha truckers out there, you know, I always love free sources for truck drivers. Definitely go check out, you know, trucking101.net. If you're booking a load and you're just concerned that, are you talking to the right people? Well, that app right there, you just go right there, look it up, and it'll put in that MC number, and it'll tell you if that brokerage is active or not, you know, and at least that will be your first defense against double brokering and some scams. So, you know, Jason Decker, I appreciate you as always, man. And,
yes, sir.
You know, we'll be doing some good stuff for the community very soon.
All right. Thank y'all so much. If y'all have any questions, reach out to us.
What's going on with the truckers? We got big news here. Mutha Trucker, Big Rig Tees, One of a Kind Customs. We're going to be at the Texas Trucking Show, June 24th and 5th. Do not miss this for the world. I mean, for all the truck drivers out there, over 15,000 drivers came last year. And I'm telling you, it's free for all of y'all. All you got to do is just hit the links down below and register, and you can come just for free. It's out here at the Nrg Center in Houston, and we're going to have a good time. For exhibitors, there's still a couple booths left, so don't miss out on that. And if you want to bring your show truck, it's free to register as well. The Texas Trucking Show, they take care of our drivers. They make pretty much everything free for the driver. And just come and enjoy this event. We're going to see you there. Don't miss it, June 24th and 5th.